Welcome back to the Breakfast Show. Now, moving on to our next guest. We saw 8 Malaysians recently take on one of the biggest challenges posed to man, which is climbing Mount Everest.
The world's tallest mountain, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I wanted to make it sound like a movie trailer.
Because of that thunderous trailer?
Thunderous music, you know. I mean, 8 men.
8 men.
One vision. One obstacle. And
anyway,
they're here.
So we talk about Base Camp 1, which is one of the 4 bases found at the mountain, and it's about 5,500 meters above sea level, and Mount Everest is actually about 8,800 meters tall.
That's more than halfway through, that's for sure. And of course, these 8 climbers have been practicing diligently for a few years, of course, to raise 100,000 ringgit for MAKNA, or the National Cancer Council. And of course, this physical act of reaching the height of 5,000 plus meters is only a fraction of what cancer patients actually have to go through or struggle through
on a daily basis.
Exactly.
Now, join the challenge one step at a time, because the harder the challenge, the more glorious the triumph is, and that's how this whole concept of climbing Mount Everest came about. But you know what? To share their experience, which the climbers have just recently came back after the climb on April 28th, we have with us today Dr. Arunan Salvaraj, who's the team climbers, and also joining him is Vimana Apana, Senior Manager from MAKNA.
Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. And of course, everyone's got a smile on their face, and everyone's lost a bit of weight as well.
Looking very fit, I see.
So let's get a bit of feedback about how the whole expedition went. Dato', can you share with us?
Well, for us, it was a bit of sweet memory experience, because we had seen a lot of people suffering and in a lot of pain, and even we had to pass gravestones and all that. So that was the scary part. But the nice part, the beautiful part was when we reached the peak. It's very fulfilling, very nice feeling.
Now, how long did it take you in total time to climb?
About 12 days.
12 days.
Yeah. It's a 12-day climb, no joke. Sometimes when we look at the visuals, there's little stairs and so forth, we forget that it's really, really quite tough anyway. Was it anything like you expected?
Yeah, the steps looks very little, but getting it up to the altitude is a challenge.
Yeah, because the air is thinner.
Yeah, the air is
thinner.
cold. And as we landed at Lukla, and we start hearing things like, at certain points like Dingboche started to snow.
Oh no,
and,
really?
Yeah, and during spring, which is unusual, and that kind of like, all right, it's going to be challenged. And we also heard that someone died because of the altitude, and that was scaring us. And when we were halfway through, we met a guy who was coming down. He's from San Diego, California, with his arm wrapped in a sling. We asked him what happened. He said that there was snow at base camp and it was slippery. The rocks were not stable. He just stepped and he fell and got his hand
Sometimes we forget it's so easy to get injured or any calamities to happen up there. So what was the biggest challenge for you up there?
One of it was the mountain sickness, acute mountain sickness. That was our biggest worry. So some of us, we experience just minor mountain sickness, but it's not so bad because we adhered to all the advices given by previous
Can you tell us a little bit about mountain sickness? What's it about?
Mountain sickness, the symptoms are basically, you have, because of the altitude, the higher you go, you tend to get headache, nausea, losing appetite, and then, you become weak.
I see.
And you have pulmonary edema, which means water in the lungs. That's quite severe.
Yeah, I see.
So in fact, like he said just now, we saw someone there, from Switzerland. This lady, her friend was, I think, died because of that.
Goodness. So we don't realize how dangerous it is to go up there.
Because the change of the weather, you can't tell. All right, suddenly we're walking, it's bright, sunny day, but the weather can be like 10 degrees. But suddenly the weather can change to negative, below negative, and
it's very extreme.
There was when we were reaching a place called Dingboche, it started to rain, and it was all ice drops.
Goodness.
It was so chill, and it was really penetrating through your bones, and that was really gave us like, oh God, and it's just a small distance to reach the place.
The expedition.
I'm not a medical doctor.
Oh no! You didn't have to tell them that.
Yeah, you said no. You should have told them that. Anyway, obviously, you guys trained, prior to climbing. Now, during the climb, did you think that the training was sufficient? to prepare you for this climb, or do you think that
now in hindsight,
in hindsight,
we trained quite a bit. We went all over Malaysia. We did Mount Kinabalu. We did Cameron Highlands all the way about 30 kilometers.
Yeah, but it was 10 hours going.
But do you think that was sufficient to prepare you for?
It was very sufficient because a day went from one point to another at reaching Everest base camp, right? A day we walk about 7 to 8 hours, and that was really sufficient. The sort of trainings that we had here.
7 to 8 hours over 12 days.
Yeah, and at the higher altitude you're going, so here's the change of the as we just about reached the base camp, there was like a blanket of snow on us. It was like, okay, not now, it was going to snow. But after that, the weather changed and it became very bright.
We could prepare ourselves, in terms of endurance. The only problem was the AMS. That's the only thing we couldn't prepare. So we had to go really slow and drink a lot of water.
Yes, of course, keep yourselves hydrated. And of course, all this was to to climb for a good cause.
Yes, climb.
Running all the time. And of course, the target was 100,000 ringgit for MAKNA. And how did, of course, you guys fare?
You see, there's one thing I have to share before I tell you this, right? Okay, when we were climbing, there was this lady, she was 74 years old. And she, when we asked her, why are you doing this? No, I'm just going to take a small walk and go up and things like that. And she's 74.
Wow.
She lives in Cyprus, she's an English woman, and she's a cancer survivor. That was like, wow. It touches the mission. It's very inspiring. And we have to thank a lot of our donors like Rotary Club, DRB Highcom, John Clark, Sumugod, the Sungai Ujong Club, the Miley & Co, Alliance Bank, who has actually come in to support in sponsoring, as well as all the individual who has come. We raised, we targeted 100,000, but we raised 158,000.
Excellent.
Congratulations.
And this is going to aid all these cancer patients with chemotherapy drugs, esophageal stent, surgical equipment that they require, monthly financial assistance. So we're very actually proud and happy to have done it successfully and come back and share it with you.
What was the speaking about that 74-year-old lady who who's a cancer survivor? What was her message? Like what did she find?
There's no mountain old enough. Neither am I.
Wow.
That was her message, and to say for her, it's saying that you can having any sort of ailment, but that's not going to stop you.
It's the will to live.
Yes, she's very positive about it, and she just put her hands in the pocket and she took out some Nepalese money.
Yeah, true.
And she just gave it to us.
Really? I don't need it.
She gave it to us, no part of the donation. We wore this T-shirt on the first day, and it's got the map at the back. And a lot of people saw, and they kept asking us about the climb. And we had a lot of foreigners, a lot of other climbers also donating money.
Excellent, excellent. Of course, the challenge of Mount Everest, bringing people closer together. Of course, these are the visuals of the 8 people, of course, risking life and limb to, of course, raise funds for the National Cancer Council.
Now, gentlemen, here's my question. You've already climbed Everest for this cause. What's going to be next?
What's next? How will you push
how are you going to top this for your next?
I get my team leader to tell you that.
For me, I lost a lot of weight, so I think I'm going to write a book on weight loss. It's going to be
climb a mountain.
One page, just say climb Mount Everest.
And it's going to be a bestseller.
New York bestseller.
Excellent stuff. So, of course, any other plans though
for now, not yet, but definitely, for MAKNA, we won't stop. We will continue doing some. It's for a good cause, and it's a fantastic experience, and the support we get from the public and the people, I just cannot describe it. Everywhere, all over. So I think we'll definitely do more for MAKNA and maybe for other charities as well.
That's true.
Excellent. But maybe what you gentlemen realize is that even this feat that you've done has inspired many people, even though we're not cancer survivors, but the inspiration is there, and we thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Please continue to inspire Malaysians
to
reach for the stars, and maybe touch the sky, ladies and gentlemen.